Morning class. Today we are going to learn division of fractions from the chapter Fractions and Decimals. So without any further delay, let's get started. So the topic that you can see here is division of a whole number by a fraction. But before getting into the topic, let's first understand the real meaning of the operation division. If you can recall from your previous class, I have told you that multiplication is equivalent to adding a number to itself repeatedly. So, we also know that multiplication or the operation multiplication is just the opposite of the operation division. And therefore, it's quite obvious that the meaning or the basic meaning of the operation division will be totally opposite to the basic meaning of the operation multiplication. Therefore, division of a number by another number is equivalent to subtracting the first number by the second number until and unless we get 0. Let's take an example here. So we have a number 6 getting divided by 3. And the answer we are going to get is your 2. Now, 6 divided by 3 is also equivalent to subtracting 3 from 6 until and unless you are getting 0. So, as you can see in the first subtraction, we have got 3. Now, we can't stop here. We have to do the subtraction again. So, again, this 3 is going to get subtracted by 3 and the answer we are going to get is your 0. So once we have got 0, we need to stop our subtraction. After that, we are going to count the number of times we have performed the operation subtraction, which is your 2 here. And therefore, 2 is the answer of this division. I hope this part is clear to you. So, division of a number by another number is equivalent to subtracting the first number by the second number until we obtain 0. And the number of times we have repeated the subtraction is going to be the answer of the division, or say the quotient of the division. Now, going back to our topic, division of a whole number by a fraction. Now let's understand this with the help of an example from our real life. Suppose I have a piece of paper from which I'm going to cut a circle like this, and I'm going to draw a line, as you can see the white line, right through the middle of the circle, or say right through the center of the circle. And why I'm doing this? Because I want to divide this circle equally into half. So when I have done that, how many parts I'm going to get? Quite obvious, we are going to get 2 parts, right? And if I represent these 2 parts mathematically, then they are going to be your 1 by 2 each. So what can be seen as, when I have drawn a line to divide this circle into half, the number of parts I'm going to get is your 2. Now, if I represent this one circle as one unit, which has got divided by 1 by 2, because I had divided into half, right? The answer I was getting was, or the number of parts I'm going to get is your 2. Now, this can be represented mathematically. So, mathematically, it can be written as 1 divided by 1 by 2, which also represents the topic that we want to discuss, right? So 1 is the whole number here, and 1 by 2 is the fraction. So, what is the simplest procedure to perform this division? Well, it's quite easy. Now, you have to observe the numbers that are given to you carefully. Okay, so you have to convert this division into its opposite sign, which is your multiplication. Let me expand this slide so that it becomes visible for you. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So as you can see, the sign of division has got converted into multiplication sign. But along with this sign, there are slight changes in the fraction that was given to us, right? So what has happened? The numerator and the denominator of the given fraction has got interchanged among themselves. So 1, which was the numerator earlier, has become the denominator, while 2, which was the denominator earlier, has become the numerator. Now, this is the very rule of performing a division of a whole number by a fraction. And what we have to do is, whatever the second number we have, it might be in the form of a fraction or say a number, you have to interchange the numerator and the denominator of the fraction, or say you have to invert the fraction. And after that, we can simply solve this multiplication, which will give us 2 as the product. You can try this on your own as well. So 1 divided by 1 by 2 gives us 2 as the answer. And if you are thinking that we might be able to do this in a traditional way, then you might do it, but it's going to be very, very difficult, because it's not easy to consider 1 by 2 as the divisor and simply proceed with the division. So whenever you get a problem as this one, always remember that you have to convert the sign of division into multiplication, followed by converting the second fraction number, or say the fraction, into its inverted form. I hope I'm making myself clear here. Next we have is our reciprocal of a fraction. But before learning about the definition of reciprocal of a fraction, let us first try to understand how can we obtain a reciprocal of a fraction. That means we are going in a reverse order. First we will know how can we obtain it, and then we will understand its meaning. So reciprocal of a fraction can be obtained by interchanging the numerator and the denominator of a given fraction, or by inverting the fraction. And this is something that we have done in our previous slide, right? 1 by 2 got inverted into 2 by 1. As an example, I have taken 3 by 2 getting converted into 2 by 3 by this same or say procedure. Now surprisingly, if you multiply these two fractions for say, the product you are going to get is your 1. Alright, you can try this with any fraction you want. You can write a fraction, interchange its numerator and denominator, and whatever fraction you will be getting after that, multiply that with the given fraction, or say the fraction you have written initially. I'm very sure all of you will be getting 1 as their product. So first, what we have learned here is reciprocal of a fraction can be obtained by inverting the fraction, and then when we multiply these fractions within themselves, the product we are getting is 1. Therefore, the non-zero numbers, mind you, the non-zero numbers whose product with each other is 1 are called reciprocals of each other. So this is the definition of the term reciprocal. Now if you have noticed here, number has been given here instead of fraction. And why this is so, I'm going to explain you now. See, suppose we have a number say 2. Now if I tell you, or if I ask you to write the reciprocal of the number 2. Will you be able to tell me the answer? Well, before going to find out the reciprocal of this number, you have to write the number in its fractional form. Therefore, 2 will become your 2 by 1, right? Because it doesn't have anything as a denominator, so we will keep 1 as the denominator, and then the reciprocal of this particular fraction is going to be your 1 by 2, right? Quite a simple task to do. So what you can do is, whenever you are getting any number, you can convert it into its fractional form and then you can find out its reciprocal, just to keep things or make things easier for you. So in this way, you can try with any number you want. And therefore, we have an example here which says the reciprocal of 5 by 9 is 9 by 5 and vice versa. That means the reciprocal of 9 by 5 is also going to be your 5 by 9. I hope reciprocal is clear to you. Well, one more thing I would like to add here. If you try to find out the reciprocal of the number 1, then what is going to be the answer? Well, if you first convert the number 1 into its fractional form, then it is going to be 1 by 1, right? And then its inverted form is also going to be your 1 by 1, which is its reciprocal, and 1 by 1 is equivalent to 1. So the reciprocal of 1 is 1 itself. Next, let's see what we have here. Okay, so division of a fraction by a whole number. Let's understand this with the help of an example. So the example I have taken here is 3 by 4 getting divided by 3. Now, if you can recall what we did in our previous slide, it was converting the whole number, which was given here, into its fractional form. The very first step. Okay, just give me 1 second. Yeah. So I hope it is visible now. 3 by 4 getting divided by 3 needs to be written in the form 3 by 4 getting divided by 3 by 1. That means the whole number 3 has been written in its fractional form. After this step, the next step is your converting the sign of division into multiplication sign, followed by writing the second fraction, that is 3 by 1, into its reciprocal form, which is your 1 by 3. And this is going to give us 3 by 12. You can try this on your own, which when converted to its lowest form will give us 1 by 4. So the answer of this division is your 1 by 4. Now alternatively, there is one more way to solve this particular question. I'm going to write this down here again. 3 by 4 getting divided by 3. The very first step is to convert your whole number into its fractional form. So 3 by 4 get divided by 3 by 1. And then 3 by 4 into 1 by 3. Now, if you remember, while doing multiplication, I have told you that we cannot multiply the numerator and the denominator of two fractions. We can simply multiply the numerator. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Yes, we can simply multiply the numerator and we can multiply both the numerators together. We can multiply both the denominators together. But in division, the case is different. So what we can do in division is, you cannot divide both the numerators together. That means you cannot divide 3 by 1. That is going to be wrong. But what you can do is, you can divide the numerator of a fraction with the denominator of another fraction, provided if it is dividing it perfectly. That means without a remainder. So we can see that 3 can get easily divided by 3 and it is going to give us 1. But what we see here in the other case is we cannot divide 1 by 4. It is not going to give us a proper quotient, right? Therefore, we have to stop our division here, and after this division, the ultimate answer we are going to get is, I'm going to write this again so that it doesn't look very messy. Yes, so what we did, we have divided 3 by the 3 and we cannot go with the division any further, therefore we have to stop here. Now when we divide 3 from 3, we got 1 as the answer of division, so this 1 needs to get multiplied to the remaining numerator and 4 will be left out here. So 1 into 1 gives us 1 and in the denominator we have 4. Ultimately, in this form also you are going to get the same result as this one, right? So either you can follow this particular rule or you can simply divide them diagonally. But remember, you cannot divide them directly. That is, you cannot divide a numerator by another numerator out of the two fractions. Next we have is your division of a fraction by a fraction itself. So this is not going to be that hard for you to understand. I have taken an example here, 1 by 3 getting divided by 5 by 6. So since both of them are in fractional forms, particularly the second one, so we don't need to write it again in some other type of fraction. It's not required. It will become useless. So what is the first step here? Simply convert the sign of division into multiplication sign, followed by writing the second fraction into its reciprocal form. And when we do that, what we are going to get is your 1 into 6 getting divided by 3 into 5. And this multiplication gives us 6 by 15, which when converted into its lowest form give us 2 by 5. Alternatively, you can also proceed in this way, 1 by 3 into 6 by 5. Now as you can see, 3 can easily divide the numerator 6 here, and I have told you division is possible if we do it diagonally, right? So 3 ones are 3 and 3 twos are 6. And why I am dividing both of them by 3? Because 3 is a common factor here. Now if I just give me a minute, yeah. So after dividing we got 2 here and 1 at the position of 3. But we cannot go further with the division of 1 by 5, right? So we have to stop our division here. The next step will be to multiply this one with the number 2 and to multiply the number 1 with the number 5. And the resultant answer is going to be your 2 by 5, which is equivalent to what we have got here. So these are the two ways by which you can go with your division. So I hope the subtopics that I have discussed with you will be clear to you. In case you find any difficulty to understand, please feel free to ask, because there are 4 subtopics that I have discussed today and it will take time for you to absorb all of them at one go. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you.